When large jobs require moving massive amounts of snow, get the work done quickly and efficiently with the Western Pile Driver and all-new Pile Driver XL pusher plows, both featuring Trace Edge technology. These pushers scrape down to the pavement with an advanced cutting-edge system that has independent 2-foot sections that move vertically, oscillate, and trip. Get more jobs done faster with the Western Pile Driver lineup of pusher plows.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey with your host, Dave Westcott. The Entrepreneurial Journey is a weekly podcast that streams live every Tuesday at 9:15 a.m. Pacific on Dave's YouTube channel and LinkedIn profile. Now here's Dave with this week's episode.
Good morning and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey. I'm your host, Dave Westcott, and I have with me this morning special guest, Kinder Smoots, Executive Director, Eagle Winds Disability Ministries. Kinder, good morning.
Good morning, Dave. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Yeah, I'm super glad you're on the show. I love your background. It makes me think of spring. I love the flowers and the green that's coming out behind you. And the rain weather brings me down. So I love a little bit of spring that you've brought to the show this morning.
Thanks. I'm a plant lover, so I can't help it.
That's cool. Do you do gardening and such?
Just indoor.
Just indoor gardening. That takes a whole nother level of talent.
I
My
love
indoor plants always want to die.
Yeah, you need lots of sunlight, and I try to bring them from place to place whenever I go somewhere. I have a few plants with me.
Oh, wow, that's cool. So if you go on a little trip, you're taking plants with you.
If I go we have a place in Palm Springs or on the west side or the east side of Washington as well. So
that's cool. I think when I was in my early 20s, somebody said, hey, listen, before you should start dating, you should be able to keep a plant alive for a year. And I said, man, I'm never going to meet anybody then, because I can't keep these bad boys alive for more than 3 or 4 months. It was a journey. I mean, I had plants out on the back porch of my apartment, and I was putting fingernail clippings in them, and I was fertilizing them and watering them, and all this, they die on me all the time. It was a tough battle.
I think it's so much easier than a pet, for one, but you just need to start with a little clipping in a propagation jar. That's how I got started.
That's how you do it. How many plants do you have now?
In one house, I just counted 81 indoor plants, and I have not counted at this place, but don't ask my husband. He just rolls his eyes. But we have clean air. That's all I have to say.
You know what? I love the clean air. I love the beauty. It's a beautiful thing to do. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Eagle Wings Disability Ministries serves about 2,200 adults with developmental abilities throughout basically the Puget Sound, Greater Seattle area. And you began with the organization as a volunteer 2003 after you lost your own daughter.
That's correct. Yes. We serve about 2,200 adults in the North Puget Sound. So we start at the King County border and go up north from there throughout Snohomish County and somewhat in Island County as well. Really people who are on the margins. And that's where I was born and raised. And then also my daughter, Kayla, who was born in 1992, diagnosed with a really rare birth defect called arthrogryposis. And Kayla lived to be about 11. And, having somebody, a touch point, somebody with disabilities in your life, it really changes you. It softens your heart, but vastly makes you aware of the condition of the environment around you, awareness of people's isolation and your need for community. And she really helped me develop a heart for people who have disabilities in our community. Just seeing the struggles that they have, advocating for her in the school districts and in the medical field, really all the challenges they face goes well beyond the handicap parking permit situation. So,
yeah, that's so true. And I'm sorry for your loss. That must have been just devastating to go through.
Yeah, that was the transformational point in my life where really we have two other kids, and my two other kids didn't need me. They were self-sufficient and really wanted to get back to school and see their other friends. And Kayla, who was 11 when she passed away, really was fully dependent on other people. She needed to be fed and dressed, but her spark in life, she just had so much joy. She had a great sense of humor, always bringing joy to other people and telling jokes. And um, she lived to be 11 and just on fire for life, always,
Mm.
despite her situation. And that's what I've found with a lot of the people we serve. So having her taken away from me just felt like the carpet ripped out from underneath of me. And I
Mm.
found myself in a massive depression, laying in bed, figuring out, okay, what am I going to do? I was a stay-at-home mom, and not only was I caring for her, but also we had a full-time nurse helping us out because her care was so great. And so I just
Mm.
didn't know what to do with myself. So I was asking myself, God, what good can come from this? She was just such an amazing person, great personality. What good can come from this? And that was the pivotal point in my life where my grief met my purpose. I had one of those friends call me up, one of those good friends that say hard things, one of those friends that just doesn't tell you what you want to hear, but is willing to say things that are actual truth, what you need to hear. And sometimes you need to hear that. And she told me three things. Today, Kinder, I want you to get up out of bed, go somewhere, take a shower, and go somewhere. And those three things were so broken down. I thought, okay, in my grief, I can do this. In my depression, I can do this. And I think that speaks to a lot of people because you come to this place where you can hardly function. You're just so overwhelmed, and maybe people are feeling immobilized. But I can get up out of bed, I can take a shower, and I can go somewhere. And for me that
Mm.
day, my car just kind of went on autopilot to the church, and I ran into the church secretary, and she kind of pat me on the shoulder and said, you're going to be okay. And I went home and I went back to bed. And that was the day my life was changed.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's tough. I mean, doing three things: get out of bed, take a shower, and go somewhere. And then you go to the church, and then you went back to bed. But you said, "Hey, that's the day that things started to really, change and move forward." And it is so tough. The only time I ever saw my dad cry ever was when my brother passed away. That's the only time I ever saw a tear fall from his face ever in my entire life. And
Yeah.
it was the first day I thought, oh my gosh, my dad has feelings. And
Yes.
like it is one of the hardest things. I think losing a child is just unbelievable. um
Yes.
so you're
And I've
going through that. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I've seen people get stuck in that situation then. But for me, I didn't know what to do. So, other than following my friend's advice, I found myself back at home in bed. And that very same day, the founder of this organization, his name was Hank Wapstra, and he was a retired pastor, and he had founded Eagle Wings Disability Ministries, but he wanted to really retire. He was having trouble with energy and, 67 years old, and he had founded a couple other nonprofits, and he just wanted to be done. So that same day, he called the church and he said, "Hey, I'm planning this little dinner, as a potluck, if you will, for Christmas for about 60 people with disabilities." And he called that same church secretary and he said, "I need to cancel." And she
Mm.
said, "You know what? I just had a lady in my office and she needs something to do." So not only Hank,
Mm.
being willing, to just say, "Hey, yeah, I want to retire, but yeah, I'll give her a call." Leah had put us together. And then this guy, I'm at home in bed, he called me could sound kind of crazy, but he calls me and says, "Hey, you want to meet me for coffee? You don't know me, but I have this little nonprofit and I'd love to have you come volunteer." And then that was the pivotal point for me where I just said, "Okay, I'm willing. I'm willing to risk it. I'm willing to get out of bed and see where this goes." So and also, I think a lot of people in their grief find that volunteering and giving back brings a lot of healing. And that was the case for me for sure, volunteering. So we got together, put our heads together, and I saw what he had planned for this potluck. And I thought, "Psst, I can do a potluck for 60 people. 60 people with disabilities. I can do that." Changed up the invitation a little bit, went around to some adult family homes, to some people really in isolation. And it was a free dinner. We were going to have Santa Claus there. And all I needed to do was take their RSVPs. But what happened was within a week, we had over 240 people call in reservations for that dinner. So I needed to come up with a strategic plan, how we were going to execute this dinner. And that dinner was the dinner that changed my life for a second time, because it wasn't just a little potluck for 60 people. This dinner was a big production that I needed to execute. So I needed to develop a procedure, how to put on this dinner. And that dinner really became one in 2003, which led to four in 2004, and so on and so on, until now we routinely hold between, 30 and 40 of those big dinners each year.
Wow, that's amazing. Incredible work that you guys are doing in the community, and and really helping people get their life where it needs to be. Talk a little bit about that. What kind of disabilities? There's 2,200 adults with developmental disabilities that you guys are servicing. What kind of disabilities are these? What are people running into? Is it mental? Is it physical? Is it all of that? What do we see out there?
Well, Dave, developmental disability is something that somebody is born with. So we're talking about adults who have aged out of the school district. So they're 18 and over, and they have diagnoses such as Down syndrome. They could be anywhere on the Asperger's or autism spectrum, but they're generally neurodiverse adults. So they have any kind of developmental delay. They could have cerebral palsy. So we're not just talking about adults who have a physical disability, such as my daughter who had arthrogryposis. And we're not talking about behavioral health adults. And we're not talking about people who have a mental health disability, but we're talking about developmental. So people who are adults, but really they're like kids. Developmentally, they're like 7 to 12-year-olds. So many of them have guardians. All of them require a full-time caregiver, and they can't care for themselves. So they can't make financial decisions for themselves, but they're really struggling to find their place in this world. But that's where our organization comes along and serves as a bridge between, like, some of them live in adult family homes, but some of them live with their parents still. And we're here to say that they're all created in the image of God.
Mm.
And they have a place in this world and they have value in this world, right? They have the ability to have a job. And our goal is to teach the rest of the world what that value is, right? They have gifts that the rest of us wish we have. I'll give you an example. So if you offend a person with Down syndrome, like maybe you hurt their feelings or you step on their foot or something like that, you go up to them and you're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I did that." And then instantly they're the ones that want to, like, comfort you. They want to hug you, maybe a little too long. They want to make you feel better, right? It's like instant forgiveness, instant joy. But really, in the United States, how many of our marriages have that kind of forgiveness when we offend our spouse, right? Like these are lessons that the people we serve have the opportunity to teach us. But then you have another situation where you have older adults, like my mom's generation, never saw this population. My mom's generation, my mom said I was never exposed to people with disabilities because everybody was institutionalized. So she said they just weren't around. So I came across this husband and wife volunteer, and they said they volunteered at one of our dinners for the first time. And they said, this dinner changed them. And I asked them how. And they said, well, there's a young man who's a courtesy clerk at our grocery store. And they said, we shop there all the time, but we are really uncomfortable walking down the aisle when we see him or going through the check stand where he's at. Because we are able-bodied people, we can bag our own groceries. We don't need his help. We don't want to ask him or put him out. But what they didn't see was asking him to help gives him job value, right? It gives him value to be like their helper and importance, in his job. So when they saw him at this dinner, they've always avoided him before. They saw him at this dinner. They saw him across the auditorium. He yells out, "My customers," really loud, across the room. He hurries over to them. He gives the wife a big, huge hug, a little too long, and she just freezes up like this. And then he leans over to the man, shakes his hand, says, "Nice to see you guys again." And she was just baffled. And she says to him, why did you never greet us like this in the store before? And he says, "I can't hug customers. That's against store policy." And she said, for the first time, I saw him as like fellow human being, like a fellow mankind who is able to love, who is able to like have conversations and engage with us. And now, like they go through his check stand every time. And that is the goal for the rest of this community. It's not just like having dinners and getting people out of their adult family homes. I mean, it is about that. We also hold life groups and get all the people we serve out to pumpkin patches and charter buses to the Woodland Park Zoo and do other important activities, teach cooking classes. But our goal is really to engage the community and business owners to see the value in the people we serve.
Wow, that's powerful. That's a phenomenal story. That's really impressive to hear that. It's touching to the heart, right? It's just, oh man, that'll knock you down, those kind of stories. So you've been doing this now, what, 22 years? Is that where you've been? And I get it, it was in a position where, oh man, it's struggling, it's going to end. You have this dinner, and over all these years, how have you seen God work in this ministry and just grow this ministry, and just some of the favor of God that you've experienced over the last 22, 23 years?
I've just seen, well, on so many levels. Of course, I've seen his provision. I mean, the measurable things, relational transformation, people who were isolated before now have friendships. I've seen caregivers and parents who are encouraged, right? They have spiritual and emotional relief, and they know they're not alone out there. Obviously, the people we serve have opportunity to come out, and they have a safe place to be celebrated. They have a place that's like theirs as well. But the amazing things I've seen in the way that God has provided, business owners. We do this event. We decided a few years back to do away with auctions and competing really heavily for funds and putting pressure on our champions, and did a shift because people in our community, I think, especially leaders in our community, get so tired of all the asks, right? There are so many wonderful and amazing nonprofits out there asking for funds that our organization just decided to shift to a relational model of support where, if we're not good at relationships, we have no business setting the standard for relationships with Eagle Wings. That's our mission, right? Our mission is to help build relationships for adults with developmental disabilities, their families, and caregivers. So we're helping them build relationships out in the community. And if we can't do that with our champions, our donors, and our volunteers as well, like, we have no business doing that. And I've seen God really provide in that way. So this shift, what has happened, we've changed our model to meeting with our champions and just saying, hey, would you pray with us? Would you partner with us? And then once a year, we do a big dinner called the Dinner of Champions to celebrate what God has done. And there are still some businesses who want to partner with us in that event. So businesses who want to help us give away raffles, we do that. Everybody leaves with a gift, generally about $250 or more in a raffle. But we raise a ton of money just in asking people to partner with us. And at that event, we don't ask for money. We don't do the fund in need, no auction, no silent auction. We just ask for people to come and sit at a table. And that's how I actually met Pastor David, because they have hosted that dinner at his venue for the last several years. And we've just seen God provide over and over again. But there's nothing more moving than what I've seen in the way that God has moved in the hearts of people quietly. And that is something that it's almost an indescribable gift that I feel like God has given to me to be able to see in the quiet. For example, we had a couple read about the work we were doing. Maybe somebody's hearing about this on this podcast. And they decided to come to one of our dinners to see what it was all about. And this couple came, and they came for 15 minutes, watched what was happening. I mean, it's a big deal when you step into a room and there's about 200 adults with developmental disabilities being celebrated right there in your neighborhood. And then the couple met me for lunch to talk about this. And then they slipped a check across the table for me to open up later. So I get in the car, and this was the first big check that I had ever gotten back in 2004. And I open it, and I'm alone in my car, and it was a check for $5,000. And here I am alone in my car, and I'm just screaming like, God, you are so good. I can't believe this. Like, how good you are. And yet we shouldn't be surprised at his goodness. We shouldn't be surprised. But every time his goodness just overflows out of the generosity of others, I am amazed. And it happened again. There's an elderly lady in our community who she can't hear anymore, and she's not mobile anymore. And so we handwrite letters back and forth. And this lady decided to give. And out of the blue, I got a check this year at the Christmas holiday season, completely unexpected, in the mail. And I can't call her up to thank her. And her family's really protected her, protecting her health from the flu season. And all I can do is write a letter. And in those cases, I just see God's hand over and over providing for Eagle Wings. And it's always more than enough. more than enough. But it's not just the money. The prayers of the people. We've seen churches and businesses provide for us. We've seen people step out and advocate for the people we've served. So many people come alongside us donating stuff you can't imagine. I mean, we're teaching art classes now, and we've had the public schools come to us and say, hey, can you provide somebody, an art teacher or a chef, to come cook in our transitional classes so that these students can get their food handlers permits and learn a life skill so they can go out and get jobs and know how to cook. I mean, it's just really a great opportunity to be out in the community. So many more programs than just our celebration dinners now.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible work that you guys are doing. And I love those examples of how you see God's hand at work. I think that's so exciting. Is there any like key moment story or key moment individual that you've worked with that's just like, man, I can't believe what happened in this, family or with this individual that you could share with us?
Oh boy, that's tough to narrow down when you have so many people being served. Um, I think of a few. I think of the moms who are caring for their loved ones, and I know they don't have food in their pantry because I've been in their homes, and I see the pictures of their loved ones, particularly one, her daughter, the pictures of her at all of our celebrations down the front of her refrigerator. And this mom, I know she doesn't have food in her own pantry, but every single month she sends in $20 to our organization to help support our programs. And even though I say, no, no, please don't do this. Like, we're going to be okay. It's really the story of the widow's mite. But most recently at our Thanksgiving celebration, we had a lady come to this dinner, and usually it would take her about 25 minutes to drive. This dinner is not accessible by public transportation or by the DART buses, which is the disability buses that our community transit runs, because it's a little more off of their grid. So families need to drive their loved ones, or adult family homes can bring their loved ones. But this mom came, and she is barely able to drive. I'm not sure she should be driving, especially in the dark. But she comes, and now she brings her son with disabilities who has become her caregiver. And he is able-bodied, but developmentally, he is like a kid. So this woman, she takes him to his job, but because it's so difficult to get in and out of the car, she waits in the car for him while he works his 2-hour shift. And then he comes out of his job, they go home together, and then he helps her safely step out of the car and back into the mobile home where they live. And she drove to this Thanksgiving dinner, and she walks with a walker, and she comes inside. And she's bent over, her spine is curved, and they sit in the photo booth together. And, she can barely lift up her head, but she just wants to be at this Thanksgiving dinner so much because it's part of the church where her dad was a pastor and helped founded decades ago. And for her, it's like a homecoming. And she's one of our prayer partners. She can't afford to give, but for her, it's like coming home. And we sing songs around the Thanksgiving tables. And, there's turkey and stuffing and gravy. And we pass the roving mic. And everything that everybody says they're grateful for is always the simple things. I'm thankful for my friend. I'm thankful for my mom. I'm thankful for my parents or my caregiver. And she's thankful for her son. And she's thankful for a safe place that he can come and just be accepted for who he is. And everything that we have for them, all of our programs are 100% free all of the time. And it's an opportunity for just the two of them to get out of the house and have Thanksgiving. And it's really, really the heart of what we all want for Thanksgiving is to be together as a family and to be able to pray together and to celebrate God's goodness together. So I'm just so thankful for her. She's called me up at the office so many times to just say, hey, Kinder, you're on my heart. I have a word of encouragement for you today. And just spoken a word over me to just pray for me. She's done that for me for decades, and I'm so thankful for her. But
Wow.
she's right at the heart of my Thanksgiving this year.
Hmm. That's beautiful. That's really powerful what you guys are doing. And the memory of your daughter kind of lives on through all of this work.
Yeah, absolutely. Kayla is her thread is in and through all the work and all that I see and all that I do, and God's healing hand on my heart. And for all those that are out there, all the leaders that are out there in our world, leading businesses and in our community that are thinking maybe they're not at work in the church. And maybe they're leading out there somewhere in the corporate world. I just want to say that is your ministry. You have touch points in the lives of your employees and in your staff and in your customers. And it doesn't have to be a person with disability that walks through your door. Maybe the person with the disability is the woman who's coming into your office looking like she has it all together, but maybe the disability is her mask that she wears to work every day, looking like she has it all together. So I just want to encourage all of those business leaders that are out there today that be encouraged. Your work is your ministry wherever you are, wherever you're at. Use it for good. Use it to encourage and uplift those that are around you.
Wow, that is so powerful. I love that. That's beautiful. That's such a beautiful share. What are some of the mind shifts that help leaders create a culture where every person is seen, and created in God's image? What simple steps could someone take right now?
I think thinking on the things that really matter. I just touched on that a moment ago, like kind of wherever you are, you have the opportunity to create a meaningful partnership. So if you're in a church setting, yes, of course, you can embrace adults with disabilities as part of your congregation. We have a program that can help come alongside you, can help equip and train you. Some of your volunteers, we can put you in touch with people who can just meet with you and help you implement a program. If you have a business, of course, donating space or goods or skills. But even if it's something as simple, like if you have a business and you have a back room with a table, you can create a space. I can think of a local coffee shop that has a little space on the side, and we use it as a coffee hour for our ASL group. It's a life group that our staff person uses ASL. That group also has developmental disabilities, and they sit and play Uno together, and that group does life together. But that's a donate space. That's a space that they donate. You could volunteer for our organization. Sarah on our staff coordinates over 700 volunteers. I should say we serve these 2,200 adults with disabilities, and we are a staff of 8. So we depend on over 700 volunteers to make these programs happen. And of course, we are always welcoming donors and champions to our programs. What we need most from our partners is presence, like just people just being there, coming alongside people in relationships, people who know how to love people well, people who can just sit and listen. You could be a pen pal for somebody if you are stuck at home. Maybe you're recovering from something. Maybe you've been broken before. Maybe you've been through a divorce or lost a loved one and you know what it feels like to be down and out, then you know what it's like to reach out and have compassion for somebody else who's hurting. Of course, the presence, but also the provision. We need that for Eagle Wings. The prayer, the advocacy. These are some of the mindset changes that we need from people. We need people to have eyes on other people in their community. When you see somebody who is isolated, somebody at your place of employment, somebody in your church, somebody in your community, we would just ask that you would just make eye contact. So many people say that I'm a magnet for people with disabilities, and people have asked me why they think that is. I could be on vacation in Mexico, I could be in a swimming pool somewhere or in a faraway land, and all of a sudden, a person with special needs will come right up to me and start talking to me, and they think I speak their language. And that happened to me again this summer. I don't speak Spanish, but somebody came right up to me in a swimming pool. And I said, it's because I have a smile on my face and I don't mind looking at them. So when somebody looks at me and they look different, I look at them and I engage and I smile. And then they just come right up to me and start talking to me. Okay, so don't be nervous and don't be afraid of that. And you say hi and you say hello and engage people, and not just people with disabilities, but anybody in our community. And how you can come alongside Eagle Wings, um, just be comfortable in who God created you to be, because we're all different. But you can you can get gifts for our bingo nights. You could sponsor our bingo nights. You could get canvases for our art nights. We do the sip and paint nights. Of course, we do mocktails instead of alcohol, which makes it super fun. But donating monthly is obviously the most sustainable way of supporting our organization. But you could invite me to come share at your business meeting or, at your church, or opportunities like this are really great. You could share this podcast with a friend, or, really sharing opportunities. But it's volunteering with us to hop on a chartered bus that leaves from Tulalip and spends a day down at the Woodland Park Zoo. That is just an absolutely fun day. It's a little bit chaos. We get everybody matching shirts. So, you have 150 people with disabilities running around the zoo. We got to keep them corralled. But imagine the complications of everybody trying to schedule their own bus ride. You can't. It can't be done from Snohomish County. You'd have to change buses at King County. The cost of admission, the cost of lunch, and transferring back to Snohomish County, it would be next to impossible. And we want to make things like that easy for them, because getting out to the zoo is such a fun experience, and they're like kids. They're fun to be around, and what a great opportunity to volunteer, and what a great thing for a business to support and have your name on a shirt to say, hey, we did this really cool thing.
That's beautiful. I do believe that, business should support organizations. I believe that businesses have that duty, and they have that it's just that responsibility. If you're in the community and nobody knows you're in the community, what's the purpose, right? I'm a big believer in that. And I love your organization, and I love what you guys are doing. And I'd love to do a matching donation for any business out there. We'll match up to $1,000 that any business donates to over the next month. And so share this, and they just need to go and give through the Enbridge Global website. Enbridge.global is the website, and just give through there and just mention Eagle Wings Disability Ministries, and we'll match whatever comes in for the next month after this show releases. I really believe in what you guys do. I think it's an amazing thing. Just your journey and your testimony and your story of everything has been just so powerful this morning. It's been an amazing show. It's been amazing to listen to you share. It's just been incredible. How can people reach you guys? Are you on social media anywhere? Are you an email, website? What's the best way for people to reach you, follow you? How can they get involved?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for that huge gift, Dave. We really appreciate it, and I just want to say our model, we believe, is the most effective way to use donor funds. So we're very careful to be good stewards of what we have by utilizing volunteers. So you could take like a business, let's say a $3,000 gift would totally underwrite the cost of the private chartered buses and going to the zoo. I mean, that's because we utilize volunteers and we have such a small amount of staff. Overall, our budget, we're so careful that less than 3% of our overhead goes to our general expenses. So everything else goes to program. 97% goes to program. So thank you for that huge gift and opportunity for match. We are on all of the platforms. Our website is eaglewingsministries.org. That's One Eagle Wings Ministries.org. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And you can find all those links on our website. Or another fun thing is people might not know that another kind of sad note, but happy note. Shortly after I lost my daughter, I went through a terrible divorce, and the pain of grief and loss was just a lot for both my husband and I. But a few years after that divorce, I was speaking about Eagle Wings and at a church, and I met my future husband. And the story of our wedding, we decided to have all of the people we serve be in our wedding. And so we had 60 bridesmaids and groomsmen in our wedding, people with disabilities. And then we had about 300 more at the ceremony. And there is a short 3-minute video of that wedding on YouTube as well. So if people Google Eagle Wings Wedding Party, Eagle Wings Wedding Party, you will see that video come up. And it's a great way to kind of encapsulate the heart of what Eagle Wings is and what we do. And it shows, to me, it's the perfect image of what it's like for all of us to sit at one table, breaking bread together, and no haves and have-nots, but really as equals, celebrating the love of Christ together. So if that's lots of different ways that people can reach us. On our website, of course, is my email address. There's links to my staff, how people can volunteer and get plugged in. Most of all, if you have a loved one or a person with disabilities that could benefit from our programs, we would love to get them involved. Everything that we do is 100% free for them. And all they need to do is sign up to get on our invitation list, and we'll start sending them invitations for our events. Our upcoming Christmas events, we have a Christmas dance coming up and a Christmas dinner. Those events, of course, are packed full already. But in January, we have a Winter Wonderland Ball coming up, and so much more in 2026. So just shoot us an email from our website. We'd love to hear from you.
You guys are doing fantastic work. I love it. If you're out there, reach out, donate, dig deep. What an amazing cause. And we all know somebody in our families, in our friendships, in our personal lives, in our businesses that are affected with these disabilities. Every single one of us, it touches every life. out there. I believe that's true. All right, my final question of the day. You've been such a wonderful guest. It's been incredible having you on the show. We got a big whiteboard, a big billboard. It's on the side of the road. It can say one word or one phrase or one sentence. What do you want to share with the world before we say goodbye?
Love well.
Love well. I love that. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Kinder, it has been absolutely fantastic having you on the show. It's been touching to me, very, very touching, very, very beautiful show. Thank you so much for everything that you shared. It's been very, very wonderful. This has been the Entrepreneurial Journey. I'm your host, Dave Westcott. We are live 9:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every single Tuesday. Drop your comments into the comments box. Give us a like. Give us a share. And today, dig deep for Eagle Wings Disabilities. Be with them, help them, support them, volunteer, pray, have presence, all of the things that Kinder asked. It's been absolutely incredible, and the work you're doing is absolutely incredible. Kinder, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Dave.
Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.